You're listening to 101.1 FM WOPP-IP WDRV-IP WALE-IP Providence. I'm your co-host, Dhruv
And I'm your co-host, Alejandro Jackson.
And this is the Out of Pocket Podcast,
where we pull conversation topics out of our pocket.
And occasionally, go out of pocket.
Welcome back to the Out of Pocket Podcast. On today's show, we are going to infinity and beyond as we talk about the vastness of space and our Horton Hears A Who relationship to it all.
I know y'all seen that movie.
Yeah, I mean,
don't cap.
It's a classic. And if you haven't, I don't know, go watch it.
Yeah.
Like, what was I going to say? Even though, tangent already. But this is how it goes in the show. Do you remember when you saw that movie for the first time?
No. Like,
I remember it was like my after-school care program decided to do an...
I think it was a very similar situation for me too.
Yeah. My after-school care program decided to do an after-school care like movie night on like a Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember leaving school at like 9 p.m.
Bruh.
After my mom picked me up because like it was like we all went to aftercare and then like at like I don't know like 6 or something or like they were like they started the movie and they like made popcorn. It was like this whole big thing.
That sounds dope.
They like put it on the big screen and they were like, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a wonky time because I feel like as a kid being at school that late like that, I feel like that was like the first time I ever been to school until like 9. And it's like,
dude, in high school that shit was a regular occurrence. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
But like, you know, high school is like This is like elementary, and I think like seeing school at night is like scary, bro. As a kid,
yeah,
like,
it's true.
But anyways, so yeah, we just want to cover kind of all things space. If you have seen episode 12, I think it's 12, our ocean episode. This
pretty much
it's
like
parallel.
Yeah.
Potentially a bit more exciting for those of you who are more interested in space than the ocean. Surprisingly enough, something that we know more about than the ocean.
Yeah, also true.
Well, I think, as far as I'm aware, as far as I understand.
I think that's the general, like, pop culture notion of it all. Yeah, that we understand.
Is that pop culture or is that actual science?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I'd be willing to... I think it's a safe bet to say that even though we don't really understand space all that well, I think we've... Or at least isn't the statistic... Or we've explored more of space than we have the ocean.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think...
There's a lot of parts about space that we don't understand still.
No, for sure. But yeah, I feel like we've been able to send more...
That's true. Yeah.
Instruments into space than the ocean.
This is why there are many benefits to being a marine biologist.
Yeah, pressure and all that or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I meant those were... Never mind. Anyway. If you guys are following the conversation thread, you'll know what just kind of happened there. But anyway,
keep in mind we're recording later than our usual time, so we're just tired, man.
The Out of Pocket Podcast
after hours.
Yeah.
I need like a saxophone or something.
Yeah, but so yeah, first up, we're gonna talk about the history of human understanding of space. So it all started with Galileo and shit.
I mean, it's been started way before that, but...
bro, what you mean, bro?
The Western sort of understanding of space, I mean, like, there's no denying that Galileo was an important figure, but I think, like, this is something that I bring up on the show a lot. There's great man history, and there's also, like, people being products of their time. Like, viewing history less as, like, you know, people who made flashpoint decisions and changed the course of history. That's, like, it's a good narrative, and it's one that we tell ourselves all the time. And it's also not entirely false, I don't think. There are important people. But I think, like, Galileo happened to be the right guy at the right time. And it's like it's not just him. There was also Copernicus and like all those other sort of people we think about in the Renaissance. But I think the standard narrative is like we all thought, or at least the Western world thought that everything revolved around the Earth until Copernicus put forth that that wasn't really true, and then he was burned for it. No, I don't think he was burned for it, but the church did dunk on him for a while, and they did the same to Galileo. But yeah, it's more just like that specific era of like church dominated like Europe had this notion that everything revolved around the Earth when it wasn't true. Like actual ideas of space. What I'm trying to say is, I think we understood a lot more about space than people give us credit for, even way back when. And like, you could get like real ancient aliensy about it, but there's no denying that the Maya had like, their cities oriented astronomically, and there's this I forget this guy's name, but he was there was this astronomer in like Alexandria. God, I forget his name, but he calculated a rough estimate of the, I think, diameter of the Earth, or like circumference of the Earth, based on like shadows cast by the sun.
I am aware of who you were talking about.
Yeah, I forget this guy's name though, but stuff like that, like, and there's ancient cultures and societies all had their own sort of scientific understandings of space too. So they also all had like explanations for the weird phenomena that happened, like the solar eclipses and stuff, and lunar eclipses. In Norse mythology, it's the wolves. I think they're named Hati and Skoll, eating up the sun and the moon. In sort of Hindu mythology, it's a very similar story. There's these two demons. Or I forget if they're demons or whatever, but there's these guys, Rahu and Ketu, who do like a similar thing where they like eat the sun or chase away the sun or something like that. Either way, that was like, that was kind of where we were, I think, as collectively as a species for a while. There's that really fun story. I guess it's not that fun, but if you consider everything else happening. But there's a story where Christopher Columbus pulled up and he was like, hey guys, hey natives, I'm gonna need all your resources. And they're like, nah, bro. And he's like, I gotta tell you though, I'm a fearsome sun deity. And I'm gonna block out the moon, or I'm gonna block out the sun in a couple of days. And they're like, aye, bro, we'll believe it when we see it. And then there was a solar eclipse, and they're like, holy shit. It was kind of messed up, but it happened because at that point, we had a good enough understanding of solar eclipses and whatever to predict them with, accuracy. So Columbus took advantage of that and took advantage of the natives. I'm not condoning it. But it's pretty fun.
Jesus. No, yes.
It's like that episode of Avatar, or they're in the library. You know what I'm talking about? And it's like they're calculating it. Whatever. I'm rambling at this point.
No, I'm in complete agreement. My statement was purely one of summation. Just it was bullshit.
Yeah.
It was like Galileo and.
No, I know. We're memeing.
That's what everybody knows.
We're memeing. Yeah.
Quick side note: Copernicus low-key. Well, let me just read this. I mean, this is Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. But, and I quote. Toward the close of 1542, Copernicus was seized with apoplexy and paralysis.
Bruh.
And sorry about that, G. He died at the age of 70, solid.
Yeah.
On the 24th of May, 1543. Legend has it that he was He was presented with the final printed pages of his some Latin stuff, I presume.
Oh yeah. On the revolutions of the celestial spheres is how it's usually translated.
Yeah. On the very day that he died, allowing him to take farewell of his life's work. He is reputed to have awoken from a stroke-induced coma, looked at his book, and then died.
Bro said, real shit. I sleep.
He's like, I bet. So yeah, I guess he said, haha, joke's on you, church. Y'all never punish me for my crimes because I have bid farewell to this life.
Yeah, that's true.
I said I'm gonna drop and dip.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah, around that time, a lot of important people, Galileo, Copernicus. Oh, I forgot to mention Johannes Kepler, Dutch astronomer, for whom, Kepler's laws are named. Another important guy.
Respectfully, I hope he died a painful death.
Yeah.
Because, man, made my AP Physics C experience terrible.
Kepler's laws, bro.
And for that, I am unforgiving and pray nothing but ill will upon all of your family.
And Newton, bro. Newton is...
I mean, we've had beef with him.
He created physics and calculus, bro. Fuck him.
But not only that, another man I have beef with who's unrelated to the astronomy grind, Horace Mann.
Oh, yo.
Implementer of the modern education system. I hope you...
I didn't know we were beefing with Horace Mann like that.
Bro, school could have been so much more, and he fumbled.
Yeah.
So
it's true, bro. We could have had school like the Greeks and did questionable things with our teachers, bro.
Yo.
Bro was talking about, we need to go back to tradition.
Who, me?
I'm just letting you know the tradition you're talking about.
No, I didn't say go back to tradition. I just meant that there could have been a different system implemented. Man, I'm not trying to run these Socratic circles.
Socratic seminars.
These Socratic...
Oh my God.
Welcome to the Out of Pocket Podcast After Hours. We are officially independent, so I'm not trying
Have
to
you
be
had any coffee today?
I had one, yeah.
I've had none. So you see.
I had one, but then I fell asleep after I took it. So I'm gonna be blunt. I'm not trying to be part of these Socratic circle jerks, bro. Like, it's not like bro, like
it ain't right.
It's like your mentor to your left and your student to your right.
That ain't right. That ain't right. The sorry about that. A little bit of a technical difficulty there. Although it's not really apparent unless you're watching it on video. Just a little light cut, but we're back. Anyway, what were we talking about? Actually, I think it's something we can move on from. Anyway, welcome back to the Out of Pocket Podcast After Hours, where our inhibitions are as loose as...
Those,
I'm not going to finish that joke.
I'm
not going to finish that joke. Anyways, it seems like from there, our understanding of space, also, like, it doesn't exist in a vacuum, pun intended. As our understanding of physics evolved, it influenced our understanding of space and vice versa. And for example, Einstein won, he won his first Nobel Prize, I think, for discovering the photoelectric effect. And if I'm not mistaken, he won another one for explaining why Mercury has a weird orbit. Because according to Kepler's laws, you wouldn't, like, if you tried to solve for Mercury's orbit like that, it looks weird. Like, there's something off about it. It has a highly eccentric orbit. And Einstein fixed for that with his theory of general relativity, I think. I always get general relativity and special relativity confused. But anyway, which takes us about to, like, modern day, roughly. I think most people are kind of familiar with the other big strides that have been made since then. For example, the moon landing, which was 100% real and not faked at all. I'm kidding. It was the shadows. Just pay attention to the shadows. And
I thought it was funny. It was Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, of course it was Neil deGrasse
He
Tyson.
was talking about how, like, staging the moon landing, right? They're like, all right, Neil, like, we need you to, well, Armstrong, not deGrasse Tyson. They're like, oh, we're gonna put you with a bunch of these Hollywood actors, like, right, or whatever. And Mr. Tyson, Dr. Tyson, excuse me, I assume doctor. Please don't come for me. He said something like, he's like, yeah, so then, like, you can imagine, like, right, like, they're trying to figure out how to recreate the landscape of the moon, right? So they just decided, like, let's shoot on location.
I think I've seen that. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, that's funny. But yeah, it was around this time that we started building, observatories and telescopes to peer deeper and deeper into the universe. And I believe there's a specific observatory that you wanted to talk about today.
It's just a cool drop-in mention, which honestly should probably take the time to go make us like a. Well, I mean, I've been there, but not in.
Yeah, I've walked there, but I've never been inside.
So, but we have the LAD Observatory here at Brown University. An observatory which a few friends of ours
work at
have worked at. I heard it's cold.
It's cold.
I heard it sucks.
I can imagine that. There's like no air conditioning or whatever.
It's not that. It's the heating, bro.
Oh, really?
Dude, I mean, we're in Providence.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
It's
yeah.
Yeah, it's an observatory that was opened in 1891 here at Brown, and they just be doing observatory stuff.
Yeah. They're observing.
They just be observing. And I think it's interesting, the sort of staple in which space has become as an academic endeavor. Like, I think, like, I feel like having an observatory has become, like, an essential at, like, universities and, like, places of higher education.
You think so?
Yeah, like, probably. Yeah, I think, like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of places have them.
I wouldn't know because I don't really. Yeah.
Brown, I'm sure, like, FIU, but like Florida International University.
Oh, really?
I don't even know why. Yeah. I had a friend who took an observatory.
Oh, that's cool.
In a space observation class.
That's neat.
Astronomy. Astronomy. There's the I don't think this is necessarily part of a university, but I know, like, there's that iconic one in Los Angeles.
Yeah, Griffith.
And just, like, all over. I don't know. I think it's, like, something that maybe, if not necessarily in higher education, like in areas with institutions of higher education, I think they're just kind of so widespread. Like, like in LA, like later we'll talk. You'll talk about. I mean, I would presume that this is how they discovered, but there's one in Hawaii. Cuba probably has one.
Yeah, I mean, the probably quote unquote best ones, aka the ones with the least light pollution, are gonna be on places like, islands that are pretty far removed from the mainland, or like deserts. That's why, like, telescopes in, like, Arizona and stuff.
That was the other one I was gonna mention. Yeah. And so I don't know. I think it's become something like. I find it fascinating the way space, in my opinion, becomes an early point of sort of study in the lives of humans. Like, I think, like, as a kid, like, it's something you learn about really.
You're like, yo, I want to be an astronaut.
Yeah, and then
I think there's cultural reasons for that, especially in the United States.
We can talk about the whole
the Cold War,
space
race.
I'm sure there are many a reason pertaining to that, which have to do with sort of our what's it called? Our fascination with space. But yeah, a lot of, I'm sure, very, like, thousands of kids hey, can I get a telescope? And then they look into it and they don't even know how to use it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, those things are not easy to use. So,
It's true.
so, yeah, I just thought it was cool, and looking further into, the observatory. I was just looking at like the instruments they use. They have like interesting. Okay, I know I'm not tripping. I know it's late. 2 quotes is inches, and one.
Yeah.
Okay, they have a 12-inch refracting telescope with a lens. Even that.
That
I'm
means
sure
the
that-
lens is 12 inches.
Well, it says houses a 12-inch refracting telescope with a lens.
Yeah, like the lens of the telescope is 12 inches, and the lens was made by whoever. You know.
Okay, that's a very weird. Well, I mean, I'm no telescope connoisseur, so. And then just like a series of astronomical clocks and regulators.
Neat.
And chronographs and chronometers and transit instruments, none of which I understand what they do. But I'm sure it's all very cool.
Yeah. It's probably all for relativity stuff. Yeah. But yeah. Anything more you wanted to say about the Lad Observatory?
It is on the bucket list of things to do alongside Human Flesh books.
Yeah.
And visiting that one library on the green that we have never gone
Yep.
inside ever, and I always forget the name of.
John Carter Brown, maybe?
Probably.
I think so. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of weird to think that we're almost halfway through college and there's like a bunch of things that we've tried to do and still haven't done yet. So that just means save it for season 4. Yeah. Anyway, kind of getting on the more
Back on
cutting
track.
edge. Yeah, back on track. The more recent developments, like space travel has been, probably big on everyone's mind when they sort of think about these things because
You know what's crazy?
what?
You mean to tell me that the little Einsteins have this like hella advanced
Zoom in through
like
the sky.
rocket ship
Little Einstein.
that like Loki has sentience on some Kang shit with like neuro connected to like their thoughts. These little kids are sitting in the back of the spaceship, patting their laps, and this thing knows how to speed up based on like tempo. And these
I guess,
kids
bro.
didn't leave the planet Earth, bro. Like we're bozo. Like you're gonna tell me you have this like piece of technology never before seen. This is on some Elon Musk AI type beat, and they never decided to leave the
Yeah.
like stratosphere, bro. Like, bro, come on.
Full L for the little Einsteins.
I'm not gonna lie. Then again, I guess. But that doesn't even make sense. How are you gonna? Whatever. How did these kids get this spaceship? Like, I actually want to know because
They built it. I
Bro.
never watched Little Einsteins as a kid like that, so
I
wouldn't
don't
know.
remember the lore, but all I'm saying is a lot of things in retrospect aren't adding up to me. Like how they got a spaceship, if they built it, why are they not working for NASA? Give them a Nobel Peace Prize. Like why'd they never go into outer space? If they have the super advanced spaceship, where are the astronauts?
Also, is Einstein their dad? They're the little Einsteins, bro. It's just not adding up. It's not adding up.
Einstein? What you been up to,
He's
bro?
getting busy, bro. Jesus Christ. Anyway, space travel. Yeah, like we mentioned the space race a little earlier. I'm just gonna assume that most people are familiar with kind of what happened. The interesting thing
What
is,
side were you rooting for?
bro, chill. Obviously, the USA, bro. And
All I must say, bro, is I gotta retain some loyalties to the
bro,
communist culture I came. No,
pause.
I'm joking, bro.
Don't be unpatriotic like that.
No, you're right. Oh, say, can you see?
They're gonna send you to a re-education facility,
My
bro.
bad.
On God.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And
Bro,
to
I've
the
seen that meme. It
republic-
was like, I pledge allegiance to the grind. It's like, that shit was so funny.
I'm not gonna lie. When was the last time I said the? Did you say the pledge in high school
Yeah.
every morning?
Yes, until COVID happened, and then I just wasn't at school
Okay,
early
well, yeah,
enough for the pledge anyway. So. Yeah.
I haven't said it since.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time I said this.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
That's crazy.
No, you know the craziest shit I heard? I heard that this is Texas lore. I heard that in Texas you say the pledge to America, then there's a separate pledge to Texas that you have to say.
Lone Star State.
That ain't right. Like Texas, y'all wildin' over there. It's like they're their own thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, after the sort of space race, after we quote unquote won, there was a few more missions, but the Apollo mission stopped just 2 after Apollo 11 with Apollo 13. There's a very famous movie starring Tom Hanks about Apollo 13, and a lot of really cool, like, it's a miracle that the astronauts from Apollo 13 came back.
Yeah.
But then sort of after that, the Apollo program was, discontinued, and in general, space flight, space exploration, pushing the boundary, took a back seat. More international efforts like the ISS started happening, and they were collaborative too.
Space treaties type beat.
For real. And so little like innovation was made because there's little incentive to make innovation. I think the ability of space shuttles to re-enter orbit without burning up, so now there's no longer like one-time like missions. That was a big W for NASA in terms of just like cost. But of course, the last space shuttle flights sort of ended around the time we were kids. And only recently has there been a reinvigoration of space flight and
By
space
the
exploration. I don't know about all that, but after the reason for it is NASA is a government organization, so they exist purely on public funds, and SpaceX run by Elon Musk.
GOAT.
I don't know about all that again,
He
but
saved Twitter.
but either way, the privatization of spaceflight is sort of what's leading to this renewed push, along with
That was a joke, by the way.
along with sort of a cultural. It seems like a lot of kids our generation are getting reinterested in space again, and for obvious reasons. I think like. I don't know. There's a lot of
Because who doesn't want to work for the GOAT?
there's a lot of debate as to whether or not we should be. I think the primary crux of the debate is should we take this next step as a human species, or it seems cringe to some people that we're spending so much money on trying to leave when we should be fixing the issues on our home planet. And more than that, like, it's gonna make itself clear that once commercial space flight becomes viable, it's only gonna be accessible to the hyper rich, at least when it sort of takes off, pun intended.
For sure. I think, yes, to be slight devil's advocate, I think this is an optimization problem. Throw back to AP Calc, or like. I think that there is well, actually this isn't also just econ. You remember those I forgot the name of those graphs. It's the ones that like you have like one resource on one axis and another on the
Production possibilities curves.
Yeah, PPC.
Yep.
And it's like, I think in the event that our efforts are futile and this planet is beyond doomed, it would be nice to have an escape plan in the event that
I think that's a cynical way of looking at it, but I
don't think it's
I
cynical.
nonetheless agree.
I'm
I
not
think,
saying that we should give up and decide to leave. I'm saying that if it is the case that it is too late,
I feel you. And
then it's better to have no backup plan.
Yeah.
It's better to have a backup plan than no backup plan.
And the YouTube channel Kurzgesagt, in a nutshell. I don't know if you ever. I'm sure you've seen their videos at some point.
Maybe.
But they've had some great videos from a couple of years ago where they talked a lot more about the sort of space exploration thing. The two biggest reasons I see for doing it is our window of time to successfully set up spaceflight is shrinking, because the more debris gets put out into space, the more dangerous it becomes to put things into orbit and get them out of orbit. So,
Oh, come on, bro. That's such a... Bro, all you gotta do is hit a quick Tokyo drift on the rocket ship, bro, and you'll be
that's
good.
not how it works.
No, come on, bro.
That's
You just-
not how it works.
and then you just move out the way, bro. Like, rookie, bro. Rookie. These are rookie pilots, bro. Let me at 'em. Kerbal Space Program
Oh
type
my
B, bro.
Kerbal Space Program. Send those rabbits into hell, bro.
Let me at 'em, bro. You know how many flights I've completed on Kerbal Space? I go. Nah, I've killed a lot of Kerbals. I'm not gonna lie. But like, look, practice makes permanent. I'm goated. Let me at 'em, bro. I'll drift around an asteroid real quick, bro. I'll never. Yes, that asteroid will never see it coming, bro. Break that boy's ankles, man. It's like drifting off towards the sun before he even knows it.
Yeah, that ain't right. But
Debris.
more than that, I think like it kind of is I think like a logical next step for humanity to, start explore like, and this is getting into the range of like sort of speculative fiction, which we'll touch upon later. But yeah, I think people have been thinking about this sort of stuff for a long time. Who lives beyond the stars? Is there a place to go and explore? That's all I got to say about that for now. But yeah, what else do you want to talk about?
Kind of moving along that track you were talking about. The advancement of technology, our telescopes, they've been going crazy lately.
Yeah, James Webb.
Iconic photos. Shout out to the Hubble.
Yeah, shout out. Hubble was the GOAT. I
child-
remember
the-
first
the
time I
child
saw
was the
Hubble
GOAT.
pictures
The Michael Jordan.
when I was a kid.
Yeah, now there's the new
LeBron.
LeBron James.
Jabron Lames.
Yeah, just posterizing other telescopes out here in the game.
James Webb is really cool.
It is.
For a lot of different reasons. But
Imagine being an engineer. Low-key. I could not imagine what the courses required to be qualified to build a telescope like that. It looks like, because I took Engine 40 here at Brown. That was already like a nightmare.
bro, imagine you sneeze and you cost NASA like $80 billion, bro. It's
They're
like
taking your firstborn child, your kidneys, at least one of them, one and a half. One of your testicles.
one of them,
Maybe
maybe both. But yeah, no. Either way, James Webb, a lot of cool things happening. As I mentioned, like as we get these tools, like as we increase our accuracy with which we're able to view the universe, we get a lot of new discoveries. Like each of these telescopes means, chances for new discoveries. And cool shit like that. Like when we discovered the CMBR, and that finally gave us like big proof of the Big Bang. Stuff like that. And now, yeah, it's just neat that we're peering further and further into the depths of the universe. I just think it's neato.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Peering back at us. I saw this post, or I saw this video the other day that some star that went supernova 600 years ago, like, finally became visible to us at like 10 p.m. the other night.
Oh, nice.
It was like some video. It was just like a little dot, and then it just.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So, It's a little scary. I feel like that's the scary thing about space is that who knows what's coming our way, and we just don't know.
It's true.
Because it happens so long ago.
It's true.
Andromeda Galaxy type beat.
Yeah.
That scared the hell out of me as a kid, I'm not gonna lie.
What, the Andromeda Galaxy?
Well, the idea that, like, the Milky Way and Andromeda are gonna, like, we're gonna be long gone, but
yeah.
they're gonna be like, I think as a kid I was like, oh no, bro, what am I gonna do?
Nah, I think it's really funny how, like, low-key they used to say all this shit. I remember being, like, low-key scared about the sun's expansion. They're like, it's gonna happen in, like, 5 billion years. And I'm like, oh no, bro, what? How the sun's gonna eat up the earth, but I live on the earth, you know? It's just like, oh man.
It'd be like
I
that.
used to be scared of the Bermuda Triangle too. I was like, oh no, bro, I'm gonna go missing.
Nah, that was the Bermuda Triangle. Actually, let me not talk that shit, bro. I'm not about it.
What?
Well, I mean, cause like I live in Miami. It's like
Yeah,
part
one of the corners, yeah.
Yeah, but like I don't be going out. That's another reason not to go to Miami Beach, bro. Like straight up, like you don't want to find yourself swimming out in Miami Beach waters. And you're in the Bermuda Triangle. Next thing you know, like
Ancient Aliens type beat.
next thing you know, you're in M. Night Shyamalan movie, bro.
Oh
like,
man.
But yeah, kind of jumping again. Want to get into some of the more zany, wacky parts of space?
Yeah, no, I sort of like cosmology, particle physics, this sort of like theoretical physics, this whole sort of realm of science has always been like kind of a hobby for me. Like, disclaimer, I'm never gonna learn the math to actually understand it because it's terrifying. But you know, it's always been something where like just like always like since late middle school, early high school, just watch a lot of YouTube about astrophysics and stuff, and just like weirdly built up a solid like knowledge base of this stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of neat things happening. I think like obviously some of the big flashy names in this sort of realm of physics, black holes, dark energy and dark matter, you know, that sort of thing. If we break it down, black holes, Stephen Hawking is like kind of the undeniable goat in the black hole like realm of science. Just because like the neat thing about black holes is there's this thing in physics called like the sort of like conservation of information. Information, like energy, can neither be created nor destroyed. But things that enter a black hole, you know, it was theorized that like they lose information, like they lose their quantum information as they get sucked into the black hole. And this created a little bit of a paradox. And Stephen Hawking sort of came up with this really neat kind of genius like step to solving the answer through the idea of Hawking radiation. It's named after him because, you know, he's the one who thought of it. But basically what happens is at the event horizon of a black hole, are you familiar with virtual particle pairs? Or
I feel like you have mentioned these sometime, somewhere in the last year and a half, so, but enlighten me.
Yeah,
Re-enlighten me.
Virtual particle pairs are, they kind of spontaneously pop into an existence, and it's a particle and it's antiparticle. So like an electron or a positron, like things like that. And they very quickly annihilate each other because that's just how it works. And, you know, matter, energy, both two sides of the same coin, as Einstein discovered, but can neither be created nor destroyed. But at the edge of a black hole, it is possible that when a virtual particle pair forms, one of them actually gets caught by the gravity of the black hole, and it ejects the other one out. And this process, known as Hawking radiation, is why it's theorized that black holes eventually lose mass. And depending on how massive a black hole is, that determines its lifetime. But, very small black holes have a shorter lifetime because they're losing that mass as they sort of decay by Hawking radiation. That being said, I'm not a physics major. I don't do this stuff for a living, so please take it with a grain of salt. I learned on the hard streets of YouTube University. So, but yeah, it's just really cool shit. That like these black holes exist. And dark matter, what is it? We don't know. I saw this really funny meme the other day where it was like kind of an IQ curve, and on the low end of the IQ curve is like, we don't know what gravity is, and in like sort of the bell curve of the IQ curve, it was like, yeah, actually we Einstein came up with general relativity, and all of space-time is a gravity blank. And then on like the very high end of the IQ curve, he was like, yes, my PhD is real. We don't know what gravity is. We still don't. We never figured this shit out. And it's true because the two big theories we have as to why the universe is the way that it is, sort of like quantum field theory, a really great model for explaining things that happen at the very small scale, and general relativity and I guess special relativity too. Yeah. A really great model for explaining why things work on the really big scale, and they don't line up. There is no like relationship between them, and that's one of the really cool burning questions in modern physics. So yeah, that's like, as I sort of mentioned earlier in the episode, I don't know why it feels like such a long time ago now, but as we learn more about physics, we learn more about space and vice versa. And it's very neat that we're able to detect these things coming in from space. I think, what was it? When Einstein predicted gravitational waves, and as we saw in, I want to say 2016 or 2018, they set up an interferometer, I think it's called LIGO, and they discovered gravitational waves, and it's just neat that there's all this data coming in from space that we're just like, I guess, sort of advanced enough to start to understand and uncover. Mm-hmm. Like, we are really just manifestations of the universe looking back on itself. And I think that's just like a really neat thing. Like, isn't there a neutrino observatory in like Antarctica called the Ice Cube or something? And they like just discovered neutrinos, like really observe them. I don't know. Either way, really cool things happening, guys. And it kind of bums me out that more people don't pay attention to this stuff. But I understand that it's not like the most relevant thing to most people's daily lives. But yeah. I'm sorry, I just geeked out for 10 minutes.
No, you're good. I will come back to that in a second. I do want to, while kind of the topic is still relatively hot. And also, we've kind of explained on the podcast before. Ideas get thrown around. Mm-hmm. Usually somebody will just kind of suggest an idea, right? This one, the idea for this episode came to me because I was on Instagram, I'm not gonna lie, and I saw this post about this runaway black hole. I said, huh? So, apparently Harriet Tubman got reincarnated as a black hole and shot it running through the universe.
Oh, man.
I respect it, bro. I respect it.
You can say that. I am not touching that joke with a 10-foot pole.
That is all right. So my curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to research further as to the goings-ons of this black hole that is apparently running, bro. I said, huh? They really said, hey, yo, call him and ask him if your refrigerator is running. Like, bro, like, what's up with this, right? Apparently, to be long story short, I read this article by NASA entitled, Hubble sees possible runaway black hole creating a trail of stars, which by itself sounds like, huh? And I'll break it down for you.
Break it
give the
down.
gist. It seems that once upon a time, in some galaxy far, far away, there was 3 black holes, there was 2 black holes and they were chilling, right?
Mhm.
They were doing their thing that black holes near each other do. They just like kind of.
Were they orbiting each other or not?
Yeah, I think so, right? From my understanding, and then this 3rd black hole, in its demon time arc, pulled up, sent one of the black holes out into flying into space and took its place.
So's violence.
So straight up booted this black hole out of his rightful spot in the universe, and said, "That's mine."
Conservation of angular momentum type beat.
Yes. And so, well, that is the theory, right? The theory. Obviously, with a lot of these things that happen in space, we don't really know. For sure. But yes, so as you said, yeah, these black holes were circling around each other, and another galaxy brought another black hole, and they were all doing their thing, and one of them got booted. Very sad.
It's tough.
So that's already by itself pretty well. But I think the thing that is even more sort of captivating to me is that, as the way NASA puts it, well, I'll read this quote because I feel like there's no other way for me to phrase this analogy. They put it very nicely. Rather than gobbling up stars ahead of it like a cosmic Pac-Man, the speedy black hole is plowing into gas in front of it to trigger new star formation along a narrow corridor.
Oh, interesting.
So this black hole's shitting out stars, straight up. Like, it's taking gas and shitting out stars. And so the way they kind of put it later is that basically the gas will cool. It says, this is a quote. We think we're seeing a wake behind the black hole where the gas cools and is able to form stars. Obviously, as you've mentioned throughout this episode, we are not astrophysicists.
Yeah.
I could not tell you how this works exactly. But I just thought it was cool that, and the Hubble has noticed that there's just kind of a streak of light, and also these are blue stars. These are no joke, not the little pansy little orange normal stars. And so kind of as you kind of segueing off your point about black holes, I just thought it was interesting to bring up some of the things that are going on in the universe, and then to expound upon the point you made after that about taking an interest in these things and how it's not really relevant to everybody's everyday lives. I think, I don't know, it's kind of, and this is a whole other conversation topic about how the human attention span has kind of been shot and yada yada yada, and we kind of take all of our information in very bite-sized pieces now. I do think that I know NASA. I don't know. I'm pretty sure NASA has an Instagram.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Okay. And it's stuff like that it's cool to learn about things like these, and obviously, I cannot say that this is something I actively do myself, but I feel like I would encourage all of us to try to find a way to kind of incorporate little aspects of little bites of knowledge, try to make it so that little bites of knowledge get thrown our way every now and then. Following NASA's Instagram and kind of when a post pops up singing what's up.
Yeah.
and learning about the universe. 'Cause-
Yeah, I have a whole list of science channels on YouTube that I subscribed to way back in the day, and it's like honestly like, yeah, it's just good. It's, you know, real ones always find time to brush up on quantum field theory. Have you seen that meme?
No, I've
it's-
seen the Avengers Endgame when Black Widow's like, oh, I know like quantum physics conversationally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah. And then I know there was another a case of something running through the universe that you wanted to.
Oh yeah, yeah. So this happened a couple of years ago at this point. But there was this object named Oumuamua that passed through the solar system, much faster than we would have expected, and I think like the weird thing about it was accelerating too, as if it was being propelled by something, and for like I think till date, only record we have, and it was the first record we have of something outside of our solar system entering and exiting. And I believe Oumuamua, its name, was named because it was discovered by a telescope in Hawaii, and it roughly translates to scout, or something along those lines, like someone who like is sent ahead. So the interesting things are in its wake. People were like aliens because it's always aliens. Hank Green made a great video about it. He also made a great TikTok recently about when people are like, oh, it's aliens. It kind of kills the impulse to actually explain the thing, which is why, like, because you could use aliens to just like explain anything.
The pyramids.
Yeah, the pyramids. Time travel. But, at the end of the day, discoveries aren't made by people who said it was aliens and then sat on their ass. Discoveries are made by the people who actually wanted to learn what makes the universe tick. But yeah, Oumuamua, really neat thing. Once again, like things that I would not have really known about. And I think the media also does a terrible job portraying science news in general because they always try to make it sensational. So like the media did a good job propagating like potential alien unidentified object flies through the solar system. Scientists aren't sure what it is. It's like those kind of narratives that get clicks but are also ultimately unproductive and misinformative. But anyway, in our last sort of chunk of the show, I don't know, I feel like there are so many tangents that I want to go off on, like, in general when it comes to this topic, because there are so many things you could talk about. But in sort of keeping with the general lighthearted nature of our show, we wanted to talk a little bit about, like, space and its representation in pop culture. I think space, for as long as it's been kind of a trope in modern media, starting with like early like
Star Trek.
sci-fi, even before Star Trek with H.G. Wells's The War of the Worlds. It's always been a source of uncertainty, and that could be the good kind of uncertainty, like you mentioned Star Trek, where we actually go out there and discover new worlds and build a civilization and interact with aliens, cool shit like that. And also the other side of Star Trek, where it's
Space
terrifying.
comes to us.
Yeah, and space comes to us. Good space horror movies, The Thing, the 80s version specifically, Alien by Ridley Scott, 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's lovely that there are so many things that can go wrong in space, and humans are managing to think about every single one of them and write stories about them.
Yeah. The power of the conscience.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah. What are some of your favorite like space movies?
Interstellar. think that
Banger.
We have spoken about that one on episode 3 of the Out of Pocket podcast. Go listen to it.
Wow. Yeah. I guess we did. That was way back in the day.
Yeah, it was yeah, but dang. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think that one has to be a favorite because one, it is just
A goated movie.
it just is great. It is very
This little maneuver is gonna cost us 50 years.
yeah. It's just writing's great. I think its portrayal of space is great. I'm pretty sure like it was touted as one of the most accurate depictions of a black hole, like before it was even.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Before
because they took a picture of a black hole in 2018. Right? Was it
something like
2018?
that. It was like, I feel like it was a little later than that. It was like
Maybe.
2019.
Maybe.
2019. And like, and when looking back at the rendering in the movie, it was quite accurate to how they actually look and yada yada yada. But also, I think it just had a great message. This idea that love is something that transcends both time and space.
Mm-hmm.
And watch it if you haven't seen it. Just watch it.
Yeah.
But so I think in general that one is a certified hood classic, as you would put it.
This is a certified hood
So
classic.
that's the first one that I really liked too.
Mm-hmm.
That I would like to talk about. Are there any you wanted to mention, bring up?
We've talked about Arrival on the show. I'm not gonna go too much deeper into it because you could just listen to what episode was it? I don't know. It was something recent. But yeah, I don't know.
Might not
It's
even
just-
been on an episode, to be honest.
Huh.
It might have been a pre-recording conversation.
Really? Maybe. Either way, yeah, they're just like, classics like Star Wars, Star Trek,
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Who that we've, famously talked about.
Yes, for sure.
How
How could I forget about Doctor Who?
other sort of like really popular examples from pop culture: Independence Day, Armageddon. It's just something that seems to be like repeatedly captivating
Yeah.
for the human consciousness. And this YouTube channel I follow, or Overly Sarcastic Productions, I think I've talked about them on the show before too. Their latest video this week was kind of a trope talk, which is like a series they do on their show about it was a really interesting deep dive into basically how in effect, isn't it weird how it seems like in most modern forms of fantasy and sci-fi, the characters have cell phones? Like some, like either it's like a comm link, or in like fantasy settings, it's usually like a magic like communicator or like some dumb shit like like a magic orb. And you didn't really see that earlier because that wasn't really the norm of how we communicated. And Red, who did the trope talk, she talked about, close to the end of the video, she did this really neat timeline of like advancements in communication technology and sort of like how that was present in the sci-fi at the time. And there are some like surprisingly like weird examples that you wouldn't think of, like in 2001 Space Odyssey, the characters use sort of like what was theorized to be like video phones, like effectively a phone booth with like FaceTime.
Yeah.
And what I didn't know is that apparently AT&T tried to launch something similar
Right.
in the 60s, but obviously it never took off because A, it's expensive, B, if the other person doesn't have the same expensive piece of technology, it's kind of useless. So yeah, just like things like that where I'm like, you could expand that to sort of understand like our understanding of sci-fi, our understanding of space, also influences the stories that we write.
For sure.
I mentioned the War of the Worlds. Have you ever heard of when Orson Welles he did a reading of War of the Worlds on the radio, and the whole story is about an alien invasion. And the funny thing is, people believed it because it was on the radio. So
Right.
there was like kind of a mass panic, like, holy crap, we're like under attack by the aliens, and they didn't realize that he was just reading out a novel. But yeah, I don't know, Al, like,
Yeah, and I think beyond all that, then there are these are usually documentaries or biopics, but I think they're important to mention. Movies like Hidden Figures,
Yeah,
which
for sure.
paint the struggles, the trials and tribulations that humanity, but also specifically people, minorities, I'm gonna be honest, have faced. Pushing us to get to places beyond the stars. And I don't know. I just think that one, like, educating ourselves on kind of going back to the beginning of the episode, just the history of human understanding of space and like the absolute, like you mentioned earlier in the episode, abysmal mathematics and theory and.
bro, they were sending humans to space with something that is less powerful than, like, I don't know,
Bro, my TI.
a TI-84, yeah.
like, man, whipped out the abacus to get us to space, bro. Sliding beads, but yeah, that was just another like kind of movie, and I guess by extension, series of movies that is relevant to the topic, but that kind of encapsulates the pop culture piece of this conversation.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much gets us to our time, so let's take them out. You've been listening to 101.1 FM, WOPP-IP, WDRV-IP, WALE-IP Providence.
You guys can find us at www.theoutapocketpodcast.com, and Outta is spelled Outta. And through there you can find links to our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Instagram.
You could also check us out on our contact page on the website. Shoot us an email. Let us know what you like, what you want to see, if you want to be on the show. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into the Outta Pocket Podcast. We'll see you next week, and we're entering that last stretch. We're entering that finals grind here at the Outta Pocket Podcast. But we'll make it through.
What you mean by that, bro? I still got another midterm. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, like, what? You got a midterm, and then, like, after that, it's pretty much final season.
Yeah, but like we're not in final season, bro. I'm still struggling out here.
I'm just saying, bro. We got 1 month left. God bless.
All I'm saying, man, forget it, bro. My turn. Out of pocket advice, bro. If your professors hit you with that third midterm, do them like Will Smith did that Alien in Independence Day, bro. All right, catch you guys later and take care.